An economic hurricane is coming. Brace yourself. Is that me saying that? Actually, no, that's not me saying that. But if you ask me, I say we're already in the hurricane when you look at the levels of debt that people are buried in right now. Well, let's take a look at who's saying this, who's issuing this warning of an economic hurricane. Well, it's actually our good friend, CEO of JPMorgan, Jamie Dimon. Quote, brace yourself for an economic hurricane caused by the Fed and the war. The CEO said he is preparing the biggest US bank for an economic hurricane on the horizon, and he advised investors to do the same. Now, this is very interesting considering just a couple weeks ago, he was quoted as saying, there's storm clouds, but they may dissipate. Also saying that the odds of the US economy avoiding a recession stood at about 33%. And he continued, even if a recession does hit, he doesn't seem to think it will be a bad one. So we went from that to prepare for the hurricane. So why are people like Jamie Dimon, the CEO of the US's biggest bank, why are people like him that should be in the know, why are they changing their tone? Why are they guessing? Why are they saying if, maybe, and, it might be? Because they know that it's all manipulated. They know that they could come in and cut rates, do QE to infinity, double, triple the amount of QE that's being done. They know that this entire economy is basically manipulated by the economic engineers that have controls of the money machine. But why is he changing his tone to a more darker tone, talking about an economic hurricane? Well, he said the following quote, I said there's storm clouds, but I'm going to change it. It's a hurricane. While conditions seem fine at the moment, nobody knows if the hurricane is a minor one or a superstorm Sandy, he added, unquote. So let's talk about that. He says he doesn't know if the hurricane is going to be a minor one or a superstorm. Well, if you look at the average working person, the middle class, it's already a superstorm when you look at the levels of debt that people are in, when you look at the rising interest rates on the credit card debt and other loans, when you look at the falling savings rate, when you look at incomes versus the cost of living. It's definitely a superstorm that's already here. But isn't it interesting how the economic engineers seem to always get it wrong? Recently, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen admitted that she was wrong last year in believing the US inflation would not pose a long-term threat. Well, how come myself and just about everyone here on this channel that watches these videos knew that this was a long-term threat, but Miss Yellen, the Treasury Secretary, got it wrong? How does that always happen? And I'll take it a step further. I would trust probably 90% of you watching this video right now. I would trust you, all the people that I read your comments down in comments on this channel. I would trust you more than I would trust the Treasury Secretary Yellen, because these people are so detached from reality. They live in their own bubble. They're already so wealthy. They don't see what's happening on the streets. They see what's happening on Wall Street. And they'll use that as the gauge of the economy. But the stock market is not the economy, especially when you have the top 1% that own about half of all stocks, and when the top 10% own about 90% of all stocks. Now, today is June 1st, and today's the day that the Fed is supposed to ramp up their balance sheet reduction. So it's going to be very interesting to see how the markets react to this. As we know, much of the strength that we've seen in the economy and much of the confidence in the economy that businesses had, that traders had, was based on this QE to infinity, which is now going into reverse. And look what we've already seen in the markets year to date, and the Fed really hasn't even began the real tightening yet. So it's about to get very interesting in the month of June. And now we're very likely to have our leaders out there urging the Fed to cut rates again because of the economy being zapped, basically. Remember what happened back at the end of 2018, 2019, when they tried to raise interest rates back then? We had then President begging for lower interest rates because he also knew that this is how the economy is propped up and how the economy is made to look strong when it's really weak. Now, when I talk about how the top 10% are doing better than ever, some people say, JJ, that's not true. They're losing money. Look at all the money that they've lost. Well, it is true. Some of them have lost money. But when you have billions of dollars, and for example, Elon Musk down 58 billion, Bezos down 57 billion, Zuck 54 billion. Markets are down. So yes, their wealth is down somewhat. But when you have, let's say, $50 billion, and even if you have a massive loss, if you go from 100 billion down to 50 billion, you're still going to be okay. Even though you lost half of your wealth, you're still going to be okay with $50 billion. But someone making 50,000 going down to 25,000, they're probably not going to be okay, especially if they have a lot of overhead, a lot of expenses, if they have a high mortgage payment. So when someone loses a chunk of their wealth, you have to look at the total and ask yourself, are these people going to be hurting with this loss? Even a loss like 58 billion? Not likely. In fact, who knows? Maybe when they close their short positions, their wealth is going to skyrocket to all-time highs because a lot of these people trade on information that they're privy to that the average person is not privy to. So sometimes you'll see a drop in wealth only to see that person later go on to all-time highs in their wealth. Now, sometimes with investing and trying to navigate this economic landscape, it can be very difficult. Do you follow the crowd? Do you just run the same direction that everyone else is running? Do you go out and take the biggest mortgage possible? Do you buy a house right now? Or do you kind of sit and wait and see why these people are running so fast in this direction and in that direction and figure out what's going to be the best for you? So continue to brace, folks. Watch your wallets, keep stacking, stay well, stay safe, stay prepared, and don't just follow the herd. Do your due diligence, do your research. And again, please let me know what you think down in comments about all this. Thanks everybody for being here, for supporting this channel. Big love. Talk to you very, very soon. Until the next update, bye for now. Peace.